This is a video on the Muhammad Ali versus Sonny Liston fight. It's widely forgotten now, but the Sonny Liston versus Muhammad Ali fight was the most shocking win in heavyweight history, and it's the third most famous fight of Muhammad Ali's career after the Rumble in the Jungle and the Thrilla in Manila versus Joe Frazier. The reason why it was such a shocking win is for two reasons. One of them is because of how devastating and how intimidating people perceived Sonny Liston to be at the time. Sonny Liston at the time was like the Mike Tyson of the 1980s. He was knocking out opponents one after the other, making very short work of them, making it look very easily. And before Sonny Liston, you had a world champion called Floyd Patterson, and Floyd Patterson was not the biggest of heavyweights, but he had incredible speed, incredible footwork. He was probably one of the most gifted and skilled boxers of that time, but he was kind of small. And Cuss, his trainer, who by the way was also Mike Tyson's trainer, made him avoid certain fighters in the division at the time, because the division was really starting to heat up when Floyd Patterson got the belt. There was three really good boxers that he avoided. There was Cleveland Williams, Zora Foley, and obviously Sonny Liston. Now, Sonny Liston didn't avoid anybody, and he thought the best way to try and get a fight with Floyd Patterson was to force him into that position by beating actually the best contenders at the time, who Floyd Patterson himself should have been fighting. So he took on Zora Foley, and Zora Foley is not a very big puncher. He's a bit slow, but he was one of the best contenders at that time, and he wasn't a small guy. He was bigger than Floyd Patterson, and Sonny Liston just destroyed him, made easy work of him, knocked him out in the third round. And Zora Foley at the time had a very impressive record of 51 wins and 3 losses, which is unbelievably good record. I mean, this is why people were annoyed Floyd Patterson was actually avoiding these guys, because he was avoiding the top contenders with these amazing records. And Sonny Liston went on and he fought Cleveland Williams twice. Now, Cleveland Williams was a massive guy at the time, just like Sonny Liston. Cleveland Williams was 6'4", which is very tall in them days. The average heavyweight in them days was probably about 6'1", 195 pounds. So Cleveland Williams was a very imposing figure at 6'4", 210 pounds. And Cleveland Williams himself was a very big puncher. He had a KO rate when he first faced Sonny Liston of 80%. And his record stood at 43 wins with only 2 losses. And Sonny Liston fought him twice and made very easy work of him as well. Now, Sonny Liston was actually the #1 contender to Floyd Patterson's heavyweight belt for over 2 years before the fight actually happened in 1962. So it's actually very unfortunate, and people forget what a great boxer he was, because he only successfully defended that title once, and that was a rematch against Floyd Patterson. Now, Sonny Liston, before the Muhammad Ali fight, he had knocked out all 3 opponents he had faced in the first round. Floyd Patterson twice, and there was a good boxer before then as well, called Albert Westphal, who was 195 pounds and also was quite a good boxer. So that was one side of why it was such a shocking win. It was because Sonny Liston was devastating, he was intimidating, he was strong. George Foreman said, because they used to spar together when George Foreman was rising up the ranks, that he was the only guy that would make George Foreman back up was Sonny Liston. And also they used to do strength training together, and Sonny Liston exceeded George Foreman in everything they did. One of the training sessions for strength they used to do was to get a wheelbarrow and fill it up with rocks, and they would push it onto the very top of this hill and then back down again, and they would just keep doing that until they were exhausted and couldn't do it anymore. And I think George Foreman said he could do it once, and Sonny Liston could do it 4 times. And there was other strength feats he used to do as well. Sonny Liston well known for having the largest fists in boxing history. I think they were 15.5 inches around. And I think for comparison, I think Muhammad Ali's fists were about 14 inches around. And Sonny Liston was famous for breaking ribs and really hurting people in sparring and boxing fights, rupturing people's eardrums, breaking ribs, breaking people's arms when they hit them. So he was a very intimidating guy. People didn't want to spar with him. People didn't want to fight him. And Muhammad Ali was very brave to actually try and pursue him at such a young age that he did. So that is one reason why it was such a shocking win. The other reason is because Muhammad Ali's last two fights, even though he looked impressive rising up the ranks and he got the light heavyweight gold medal, he was quite a scrawny guy, I would say, at that time. Compared to Sonny Liston, at standing at 6'3", 210 pounds, he didn't look like there was much to him compared to Sonny Liston. He was fast though. He had great speed. He was knocking a lot of people out before that fight as well. I think Muhammad Ali's KO rate was 79% before that fight. But obviously, Muhammad Ali had just been starting out, so he wasn't fighting the same level as opposition as Sonny Liston was. But he looked very fast. He was as quick on his feet as a middleweight was, and he was as quick with his hands as a middleweight was as well. But his last two fights before he fought Sonny Liston, he fought he fought Doug Jones. And Doug Jones was quite a small heavyweight. He was very skilled at the time, one of the top ranking ones. And the fight ended with Ali winning 5 rounds, Doug Jones winning 4 rounds, and 1 round draw. Now, what made this controversial at the time was one of the newspaper editors at the side of the ring scored it to Doug Jones because he thought Doug Jones won. So they put that into their paper, their perception of it. And actually a lot of the crowd as well thought Doug Jones won the fight, and they booed Muhammad Ali when they were exiting the ring. So that didn't look very good for Ali, and he wasn't very happy with that win at all. Then he went on and he fought Henry Cooper, and Henry Cooper floored him in the end of the 7th round. And it was bad. I mean, he got down. He was only down for about 5 seconds to get back up, but he looked shaky, and he was lucky that it was the end of that round. It was controversial at that time because they used smelling salts, which were illegal in Britain at that time, and there was a hole in the glove that was already there, and that was expanded by Angelo Dundee to actually get Muhammad Ali some more time, and I think they had 1 minute and 40 seconds between rounds. So Ali went out there, and it was the 8th round, which he predicted to beat Henry Cooper in, and he demolished him easily, which he probably could have done a lot earlier. The fact that he got knocked down was more to do with Muhammad Ali carrying him to the 8th round and taking him very lightly, I think. Not with the training, but with in the actual ring, showboating, just having a bit of fun, thinking this was an easy fight that was a lot beneath him, which it was, but he should have taken it. If he'd taken it more seriously, it would have been a very short fight. But the fact that he actually got knocked down by someone that's only 187 pounds like Henry Cooper. I mean, Henry Cooper was respected in Britain, and he was respected around the world. He was a British champion. But to be floored by someone as light as Henry Cooper, and someone that was not a big puncher like Henry Cooper, really made people question if Muhammad Ali should actually be stepping in the ring with Sonny Liston so early. Because Sonny Liston was a far bigger guy than Henry Cooper, and Henry Cooper himself said that if he'd seen Sonny Liston, he'd crossed over to the other side of the road. In other words, he didn't want anything to do with Sonny Liston. And he even said that when Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston were fighting, if Muhammad Ali won, he would fight him, But if the other way around and Sonny Liston won, he didn't want anything to do with him. I mean, Sonny Liston was literally that intimidating and scary in the world of boxing at that time. So, the build up to that fight, Muhammad Ali was chasing Sonny Liston around everywhere, calling him a big ugly bear. He turned up to the casino where Sonny Liston and Joe Louis liked to play cards, and he would call him out in front of everybody, just try and embarrass him. There's a famous story about when Sonny Liston pulled out the gun and fired it into the air, and everybody, Muhammad Ali and that, ran, and people panicked in the casino, but he just revealed it was just blanks he was using. And there was also the famous story of when Muhammad Ali rented out a bus and wrote bear hunting on it, and they had the jumpers with the bear hunting written on the back, and he went down to Sonny Liston's house at the middle of the night, and he got out the megaphone and he was shouting, "Come out, you big ugly bear, I'll fight you right here outside the grass." Sonny Liston came out and he's seen them off, but Muhammad Ali was taking it as a joke and he was trying to get publicity, and it worked very well. I mean, the idea Ali had for all this controversial publicity was he knew a wrestler called Gorgeous George. Now, Gorgeous George was not the most successful of wrestlers in a sense, as in winning the wrestling matches. He was only about 5'9" and about 200 pounds. But he had these long golden locks, and he used to have a brush and a mirror, and he used to comb the brush through it and talk about how gorgeous he was, and how he would get into the ring and he'd smash this guy right over his back, and how he was the best wrestler in the world. And Muhammad Ali was mesmerised by this guy at the time. He was not a very big talker at the time, and he learnt a lot from watching Gorgeous George perform. And he said, "Whoa, Gorgeous George talking all this stuff about this wrestling match. I want to go and see this." So he thought, well, if people want to go and see Gorgeous George because of what he's saying, for him being a big mouth, well, why don't I do that too? And I can get myself more famous, and I can rise through the ranks quicker, and I can get all the publicity, and I can get more of the money. And that's what Muhammad Ali did. So eventually he got that fight with Sonny Liston, and as everybody knows, it looked like a complete mismatch. Even in the first round, Muhammad Ali was going out there and he was too quick on his feet. He was staying out of range of Sonny Liston, and when Sonny Liston had just threw a couple of combinations or a body shot to the body, Ali would just counterpunch him, and he'd use the fast, flashy combinations to the head that he's really famous for. Then he'd just fire back out of range again and leave Sonny Liston just pawing away, missing with his jab and his left hook, which he was famous for. So even though Sonny Liston had taken on Floyd Patterson, who is a very fast fighter, I would actually say Floyd Patterson was faster than Muhammad Ali, and was actually more skilled than Muhammad Ali. The problem with Floyd Patterson was he was too small, he was too short, and I don't think Floyd Patterson had the confidence Muhammad Ali did. So Ali was being a larger version, Floyd Patterson on steroids, if you will, just managed to stay out the road. He had the confidence to know if he just stayed out of distance, let Sonny Liston just punch away, and whenever he had a chance, go in there with his flashy combinations and knock Sonny Liston around. He'd break down Sonny Liston's confidence after a while, and he would just rack up rounds. Now, as the fight progressed, that's what happened. Muhammad Ali was just completely dominated him, and there was that famous scene in the boxing match where I think it was the sixth round. Sonny Liston had a very bad cut, and they had to treat it with a solution, which got into his gloves and got into Muhammad Ali's eye for the 7th round. And Muhammad Ali was actually boxing Sonny Liston, the most powerful and dangerous boxer at that time, blind. So he just had to move around that ring quickly and just cover up and grab hold of Sonny Liston when he could. And he was very lucky to get through that round, because Sonny Liston was just throwing everything at him. I mean, if Sonny Liston could win that fight, he was going to win it in that 7th round. All he had to do was lay that couple of big punches on Muhammad Ali, but he couldn't do it. Muhammad Ali proved to be far too elusive, even went blind for Sonny Liston. And after, in the next round, Ali was annoyed and he just got right back to it. Lots of combinations, really messing Sonny Liston up, punishing him badly, ruining his confidence for the rest of the fight. He ruined his confidence so badly and beat Sonny Liston up so badly in that last round. Sonny Liston just quitting the stool right there and then. And that's the story of Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston.